Hello YouTube, welcome to my first video. So I've been sitting around for like the last hour or so just looking at different videos and stuff on YouTube, and it just kind of dawned on me, hey, why don't I make my own? So here it is. There's really nothing in like specific that I wanted to talk about. More or less it's just kind of just wanted a way to kind of vent, I guess, a little bit. I've done like a lot of soul searching, I guess you could say, in the last month and a half, 2 months maybe, and it's just kind of led to this. So, I mean, any of you that are trans or think you may be trans or anything like that, and you're not sure, I mean, it's definitely something that you don't want to, I guess, keep bottled up for too long, because it's, believe me, something that will never ever go away. It's always going to be inside of you, eating at you, and then you'll end up being like me, and you're like 32, and you've made some decisions in your life that can definitely impact whether or not you, I guess, have the ability to maybe transition and take the next step, or you just decide that you just can't do it, and I guess it's for whatever reason your own business. But I more or less have just, there's really no other way to explain it. I mean, I've been this way my whole life. Um, it's not something that's always easy to cope with. It's something that is, like I said, it's inside of you from, like, I guess the moment you're born. I can remember, wanting to be a girl as far back as like 6 or 7 years old. And I've been that way all through my teenage years, and then, of course, to add insult to injury, I have a hormonal imbalance, which I guess at this point is good, but yeah, so it's not very much fun being, a 13, 14-year-old boy in gym class with boobs. But, I mean, it's, you deal with it, and, you move on, you grow up, and then you start hitting puberty and all this good stuff, and girls and all these other things come into play, and it's something that, I kind of just forgot about, I guess you could say, for a while, and it just, it always finds a way to resurface somehow. So here I am now. As I said, I'm 32, and I guess it was maybe like a week or so before Christmas, and I woke up one morning, and it's like something clicked. And I said, I can't do this anymore. I can't continue to live this lie to myself, or just to, well, to my wife for one. I mean, I'm married. I consider myself a heterosexual male, or a lesbian, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, so we've been married since 2009, and I actually have a 5-year-old daughter who, I love more than anything in this world. And there's come a couple of pivotal points over the years where I've wanted to, kind of sort of, I guess, come out to her, and I've always known that there was no way she was going to be the understanding type. So you should definitely know that, any of you that are possibly thinking of, transitioning, or, you want to get more information, or, seek help or therapy or whatever you want to call it. I mean, it's not always, some pretty painted picture. I mean, granted, it's not like I've lost everything or anything like that. I mean, I still have, people that do support my decision, and, this is actually really fairly new to me. I actually have an appointment later this week to finally sit down with some people that are, you know, kind of experienced in the gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender area of expertise at the local LGBT center here where I live. And I've contacted them, and just to kind of more or less just, you know, I guess as a first step for me. It's definitely not something that, you know, I ever thought that I would do, but I just, you know, my mind just couldn't take it anymore. And, you know, there are going to be difficult times. I mean, like I said, I do have people that do support, you know, my decision. My sister, my mom, who have been really cool so far. My dad doesn't exactly know, but then again, he just had an open heart surgery, so I kind of feel like I might want to withhold that information for a while. Just so, you know, it's not really the kind of thing that I really want to spring. My dad's very old-fashioned in his, you know, his mindset. He's not very open-minded. You know, he's always been the kind that's like, you know, faggot this, or, you know, weirdo freak that, or whatever. Which is really funny, because then he sits around at night and watches Anderson Cooper. But anyway, I guess maybe he doesn't know. But anyway, so yeah, it's not one of those things that I really would feel comfortable talking to my dad about. It's not, you know, my mom and dad are not together. They've been divorced for years, and it's one of them things where I really don't want to, until the point where, you know, I am going to be seeking HRT, which, you know, hopefully, you know, meeting with these people Thursday will help that, because the center that I'm going to talk with the, I guess, therapist, or, you know, the lady that runs it, she's actually the director of the center, and she's also trans. So I'm really looking forward to talking to her and kind of being able to sit down and speak with someone that I can talk openly to about this, that understands it, and is educated in the subject, whereas it's not really a common topic among, you know, normal people. But I mean, hell, what's normal anyway nowadays, right? So, but yeah, so really looking forward to that, and hopefully it will work out. I mean, this is kind of like the, you know, point A, you know, from my journey to a very long point B. And, you know, I watch, like I said, a lot of YouTube videos, and there's some really great, inspiring people out there who are just like me, or just like you. If you're watching this, then obviously it's, you know, something that you are, you know, looking for more information about, which is, you know, me. I mean, it's the same thing I've done for a long time. It's just, I guess the internet makes it easier now to relate to these kind of things. I mean, transgender people, and, you know, gays, lesbians, I mean, it's all becoming a very much more common thing, at least in this country, I guess, than it used to be, you know, 20 or 30 years ago, where that kind of stuff was, you know, you were kind of like the outcast of society, you know, so to speak, I guess you could say. And now it's just, I mean, hell, you can turn on TV, and, you know, there's shows with trans people, and, you know, programs about it, and, you know, they have their own television network now, Logo. So, I mean, it's, you know, it's something that's a lot more acceptable. Now, I'm not saying that it's, you know, going to make it any easier for me or anything like that. I mean, you know, I'm 6'3", you know, 200 pounds, so I mean, I've got a lot of work to do to get to where I want to be. I'm really not interested in this point, you know, in, as far as like the whole facial reconstruction, all that, you know, stuff that a lot of girls go through. You know, it's going to be something that's going to be a slow process for me, obviously. I mean, even, you know, your basic health insurance doesn't cover these kind of things, to the point where, medicines and stuff like that are easy to come by. Hormones are pretty easy to get, I guess, nowadays. And then, other than that, it's not like you can take your Blue Cross Blue Shield and run down and get a boob job. So it's definitely going to be a slow process, but it's one that, I really wanted to take my whole life. So it's going to be a good thing. It's going to be a long, emotional roller coaster, but I'm prepared for it. And so about 3 or 4 weeks ago, my wife and I, sat down and had a conversation. And obviously, me and her have not gotten along really. Well, not really not gotten along, but more or less just, she's got her room, I've got my room, and we don't really, we're kind of like the roommates, I guess you could say, that happen to raise a child together. So, and there's different things that bother her, and there's also, the more I ignore what I know is true, the harder it gets to deal with, I guess you could say. So, whereas, it's just one of those things where I just finally said, I need to be honest with her, and, it's not for me, but for her as well. I feel like the fact that, my mind is one way and my life is another, it's just not fair to her anymore to continue to I guess you could say, put on a show. So, her and I had a conversation, like I said, about 4 weeks ago, and I was more open and honest with her than I'd ever been with anybody in my life. I said, look, this is who I am. I can't control it. I mean, even though I really don't think she was surprised, because, over the years, there's been days where she's, come home from work and there's traces of makeup on my face and, stuff like that. I've had my own little private stash of, my own clothes and shoes and stuff like that. And it's been kind of just like an unspoken subject. She knew about it, and I guess she kind of just figured I was just like I had some kind of cross-dressing fetish, which, for a long time is what I thought it was. I figured, okay, I'm just, one of these guys out there that likes to dress up as a female, and, that was the end of it. And then, of course, early on I learned that, there are people like that, quite a few people like that in this world, that, that's enough for them. But the actuality of it is, I'm transgender. So, and for a long time I never knew that word existed. So it's one of those things where, like I said, nowadays it's, this kind of stuff is everywhere you look, so it's a lot more common. Whereas, I grew up as, an 80s child where, we didn't have the internet. And, I can remember when we got our first dial-up internet, America Online. So it was, even then it was not the kind of thing you'd find on the internet. Whereas nowadays you can Google it and have 500 websites pop up immediately. So it's, it's a different world we live in now. One that's a lot more full of information and resources and this, that, and the third, especially for people like me or you. That may be the case. But anyway, so like I said, I was really honest with her, and I told her, I don't expect you to stay with me because, I realize that you're not a lesbian and you don't want to be married to a female, but this is just something that, depresses me. I mean, it makes me angry, it makes me emotional, and it's, I'm not one of these people that, hangs the balance of my life, and, I'm not going to hurt myself or injure myself or anything like that over it. I'm definitely, I love life too much to do something like that. It's just that I was unhappy, and I've been unhappy, for a very long time, and I just figured, you know what, I'm 32, fuck it. I mean, there's really no other way of looking at it. I mean, there's no sense in anyone ever living unhappily. if there's a way to change it, and I just firmly believe that. And of course, me and her went through kind of a wave of different emotions when it came to, my secret that I shared with her. She was angry and she was upset, and a lot of different things went through her mind, and we didn't actually speak for a couple of days, which I expected. I mean, that was, from her point of view, I've kind of been, I guess you could say, stringing her along. In her mind, I've been this way. I knew I was one day going to, come out of my shell, so to speak, and she doesn't understand, I guess, why I continue to, for us to be us, knowing that. And as I try to explain to her, it really wasn't like that. It wasn't intentional. I mean, I've done everything humanly possible to try to overcome this in my own mind, and everything that I could think of to, make a man out of myself, and, to include joining the military, which I still currently serve. Um, I won't say what branch, but so obviously this is not mine. Um, it will be one day. It's just not doable at this point in time. However, I do plan, like I said, on um, starting hormones as soon as I can. I realize that that in itself is a risk. I enjoy the military. I've got, some of the greatest friends I've ever had in my whole life. A lot of whom I actually believe would, continue to be my friend after the fact. But, I mean, the ugly truth is that the military, even though the whole, don't ask, don't tell has been repealed, if you are in the military, then you've probably taken 50 million classes on that, just like I have, so you really know how much of a repeal it really was. And it pretty much just adheres to like gays and lesbians, and that's pretty much it. There's no really transgender in the United States Armed Forces is still considered a mental condition, which is not, to my knowledge, not covered under Don't Ask, Don't Tell. So even though in the newly revised version of the DSM-5, which is, if you don't know, more or less kind of like a um, behavioral medicine, psychological Bible, I guess you could say. It's any kind of shrink you might go to or anything like that. I mean, anything you could possibly be mentally diagnosed with is in that book. And transgender is no longer considered a behavioral, mental health issue. So that's actually a good thing. It's like a step forward for people like us. So that's a really cool thing. And I just learned that like 2 weeks ago. I happened to be Googling something and it popped up, and I read the article and I was like, oh shit, that's cool. So other than that, I mean, you have to be true to yourself. If you know that you are unhappy with who you are, you need to do whatever you possibly can to change it. Um, there will be, as with anything in life, there are risks to be taken. I mean, hell, you could get, shot walking out of your own front door going to Walmart or something like that. So I mean, life is full of risks, and I personally got to the point where, I just couldn't take it anymore. So if you're like that, and if you're anything like me, then just, talk to someone. Get on the internet. As far as I know, like every like major city or metropolis area or whatever has got an LGBT center, which is, from what I understand, like pretty much, a starting point. Um, it's a safe haven for anyone that wants to go and, express themselves, or, you know, find themselves, I guess you could say, because, like I said, that's what I plan on doing, and I'm really excited and nervous and scared and all that, about going to this appointment that I have Thursday. So hopefully it will be everything that in my mind I know it will be. But anyway, so back to the whole wife thing. I'm sorry. This was supposed to be like a really quick video, but it's turned into a little bit longer than what I thought it would be. But, so yeah, so Friday she moved out with my daughter, which is fine. It wasn't one of those big things where, I was dodging lamps or anything like that. Me and her both, were able to rationally talk about this and just kind of make a combined decision that if this is something that I was going to pursue, that she couldn't be with me, which I understand. And, even though I love her with all my heart, and always will, I respect that decision. Because, even though I know that, once everything is all said and done, I will never get married again. Even my second marriage, I've got a beautiful child out of it, and hopefully, my daughter will understand one of these days. Something I think about a lot. But, I also know that when it comes to things like this, kids usually tend to be the easiest to understand things and the most accepting. So I don't really think that my wife is, the type where she's going to put a bunch of, ideas into her head about me or about, trans people in gender in general or anything like that. So, but so anyway, so she moved out this past Friday. So now I just kind of got my whole house to myself, and it's, this is the result. So, as many of you know, don't give a trans girl a house to herself. So, I've kind of been able to, come out of my shell in a way that I haven't in a long time, probably about 3 years. So, I finally went and, I bought like some makeup and some clothes and stuff, and more or less just kind of, reliving, I enjoy shopping, and I've got, a decent little amount of clothes, not a whole lot, not exactly anywhere near what I used to have, but I have done a lot of purging over the years. For any of you that don't know what that means, that's, people like us that have like their big, stash of clothes, just crammed into a box in the bottom of a closet, hiding under a blanket. And that, one day we get fed up and we decide, oh, I'm never going to do this again, this is the end of it. So when we throw it away or we get rid of it or we find a dumpster behind a 7-Eleven or something somewhere, and that's the last of that. And, within 6 months to a year later, we've, gotten right back into the habit. So if I had all the clothes and shoes back that I have gotten rid of over the years, I could probably open up my own shop. And that's the truth. So, never again. It's not worth it. Because, even if you're just a cross-dresser and, you have a girlfriend, you don't want her to find out. So, or whatever the case may be, you take all your shit and you just, go burn it or whatever. You'll go back to it and you're going to regret that you did. So, just be true to yourself. Don't ever let anyone tell you that there's something wrong with the way you are. And that goes for anyone. If you're, gay, lesbian, bi, whatever the case is. If you're, happy with yourself and, happy with your life, then screw anyone that doesn't understand that. If you don't like me, go away. Plain and simple. So, and obviously, I don't go to work looking like this. I haven't even left the house looking like this. I do all my shopping in, boy mode, which I don't care. I walk right into Walmart and buy a pack of panties and take it right up there with a smile on my face and pay for it. I don't give a shit. So, and for the most part, most people are pleasant. I shop in strictly, women's clothing stores. I will go in there and look through the racks right beside everybody else. I could care less. I really wish I had like that Mel Gibson talent, like in What Women Want, where he could read people's minds, women's minds. Because I would love to hear what some of them are thinking when I'm walking around shopping. But anyway, be true to yourself. I mean, that's just pretty much kind of the point of my little video. This is my first video, and I'm sorry if the quality sucks, because I'm using my laptop webcam that's like built in up here, and it sucks. And wow, there's a really big glare on my glasses too. So and I actually did my makeup specifically for my video for you guys to look at, and I haven't done makeup in like I said, about 3 years. So a little bit of a close up. You really can't see it because this webcam is a piece of shit. Anyway, so that's me. So yeah, I really don't know what else to say. It's just, like I said, hopefully this will be one in a long series of videos. So I think I pretty much covered everything. I mean, like I said, I don't go to work or anything as a woman yet. The company I do work for, who will remain unnamed, does have in their equal opportunity, like if you fill out the application, we are an equal opportunity employer, we do not discriminate against blah 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 blah. They do have gender in that whole little list of things, so I don't really know if it's something that if I were to bring up to my boss or my district manager or whatever, it's something that would be acceptable or something they would. I don't see why not. But in the state that I live in, there are no laws pertaining to, I guess, like transgender discrimination at work or anything like that. So it's not something that I don't know if it's something I could do or not. Once I start hormones, like I said, obviously I'm either going to have to ride out the end of my military contract, or I guess I will be separated. I'm not sure. But, if it comes to that, then it comes to that. Like I said, I love the military, and even though I'm a reservist, so I don't do it very much. 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks a year. But we have a blast. It's a lot of fun. And as I said before, I've met some of the greatest people that I've ever met in my life throughout the whole process. And I've been in almost 4 years now, 4 years in May. So, like I said, that was my final attempt at, making a man out of myself. And it didn't work. So, this is the point where I was, if you've ever heard the expression, it's time to shit or get off the can, well, I've officially, I guess you could say, quit trying to deny what I know is true. So, all of you out there that know who you are and you're afraid to be that person, I 100% sympathize with you, because that was me. And it's been, this is something I should have done a long time ago. I wish I had, maybe, of course, hell, when I was 13 or 14, I didn't know that you could go to the pediatrician and get a magic pill to make you, different before you hit puberty or anything like that. Luckily, like I said, I have a hormonal imbalance, so I've got a pretty decent set of hooters to begin with. So, which is actually a good thing, because I have look that up on the internet as well. And those of us who have, you know, man boobs, it's kind of like having a head start in the hormone game. So, I mean, obviously, I'm not going to acquire a set of double D's or anything strictly on hormones alone, but I mean, if I ended up being, you know, a decent C, I'd be happy enough with that. I mean, it's going to be hard enough, you know, passing with, you know, my height and all that, but I don't care. I don't really think I'm ugly. I don't think that, you know, passing is really not something that I'm really all that worried about. I mean, obviously, all of us want to be pretty and glamorous and petite and blah, 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 but I mean, the fact of the matter is that if I were to walk around with a pair of 4-inch heels on, I'd be damn near 6'8". That's not the kind of thing you see very often. So, luckily, in today's day and age, the big thing is flats. So, when it comes to shoes anyway, that's what I mean. So, that's a good thing, I guess. But anyway, for any of you who just, you know, don't know where to start, I mean, YouTube has probably been the greatest resource I've ever had for this. And, you know, like I said, some of the people that I've subscribed to and videos that I've watched are really and honestly what have made me come to the decision that I made. I mean, I've looked at people that are, you know, pretty close to my age that have decided, you know what, I've got to be myself or I'm going to scream. So that's kind of where I'm at. I mean, I've already taken, in my opinion, the biggest step in, you know, telling some of the people that mean most to me in my life, and, you know, hoping that, you know, someday they can forgive me, I guess you can say. But it's just something that, you know, no matter what I do, I'll never be able to ever overcome. So, you know, I love everyone that's going to support me throughout this. And it's going to be a long process. But I just figured, you know, I'd make a video and maybe kind of give people a little bit of a different perspective. I mean, you know, I watch a lot of videos of, you know, people who are in different stages of their transition that are like, you know, 5'7", 120 pounds, and, you know, just perfectly petite. And I'm living proof we're not all like that. Some of us, you know, are going to have bigger challenges than just the transition alone. You know, like I said, we come in all shapes and sizes. I mean, I've seen some trans women that were, you know, 300 pounds and like 5'4", and they're some of the happiest people I've ever actually had the pleasure of, you know, hearing their stories and watching their videos. And I applaud anyone who is, you know, taking control of their life in a way that could possibly, you know, it's pretty much like just taking all your cards and putting them on the table, which is what I plan on doing as well. I mean, I kind of have already, and, you know, to a point, with the exception of my dad. God knows. I can just picture the look on his face, and I should just go to his house just like this. I mean, obviously not in my pajamas, but I mean, just knock on the door and surprise! Not gonna happen. My dad would probably shoot me, thinking I was getting ready to rob him or something like that. But anyway, I mean, I know my dad loves me. I love him, and you know, I am who I am. Take it or leave it. You know, I don't want to be one of these people who are disowned for being, you know, the person they are, but it could happen. I doubt it, but I mean, it could, but I don't think so. So, I guess it's time to cut this bad boy off. I think YouTube only allows like 15 minutes, so I will definitely keep you guys posted as things progress. I'll probably make another video like Thursday to kind of let the world know. That is saying that anybody even watches this, so I'll probably make another video Thursday just to kind of, you know, keep everyone updated on how my first actual, I guess you could say interview, I don't know, with the people down at the LGBT Center. And, you know, I guess I kind of give everyone an update on what I learned, or, you know, what maybe my, I guess my next step in all of this. I mean, so we will see. But anyway, thanks for watching. If you actually stuck through this entire movie that I just made. And God bless. Always be yourself, no matter what. Bye.